tired of being tired.
Yes.
For too long, we have been told about the greatness of Minneapolis and Minnesota. This is one of the liberal havens where in every single measure of society, everyone has the best life except for Black and minorities. When it comes to social and economic success in this state and in the city, we are at the bottom of every single measure. We are the worst in the nation.
Facts.
Now, when you think about building equity, when you think about having access to proper education, when you think about the criminalization of our bodies and our spaces, when you think about our Black men and our Black youth seeing themselves as equal part of society, this is when we say it's enough because we want to have equal access to that American dream. We want to have our rights protected as everyone else. We want to make sure that we are defunding the police and utilizing those resources to invest in our communities. For too long here in Minneapolis, we have found ourselves in this position. We have mourned the deaths of many of our community members in the hands of Minneapolis police, which I believe and everyone else believes is state-sanctioned violence. And so what we want is that brutalization to end.
Right.
I want to raise my Black son
Yes.
to live in a place where he can actualize his full potential. Through a process in which they tell their children how not to get themselves killed by the police officers that are entrusted to protect and serve them. And that conversation needs to end. Because what we want is the ability to not just breathe, but to live and thrive. So this is why I introduced a resolution, because first we have to recognize the problem before we can get to a solution.
Right.
And the problem we haven't recognized for so long in this country is the brutality in which many of our communities live under. So my sister, Ayanna Presley out of Massachusetts, and I, along with Karen Bass and Barbara Lee, introduced a resolution to recognize police brutality, racism, and the systematic injustices that continue to brutalize, dehumanize, and criminalize Black bodies in this country. From the days of enslavement, to having African Americans be lynched, to Jim Crow, to mass incarceration, and now to police brutality, this needs to end, and we start that by recognizing the problem. So in the next couple of weeks, we are going to put that resolution to a vote. And then after that, we are going to start the process of doing 4 things. And those 4 things are dealing with police brutality and making sure that the police don't have impunity here in our country. Second is that we are going to invest in reimagining what policing and criminal justice looks like in our country.
Exactly.
Third, we are going to start a process in which we stop the militarization of our police departments that make us feel like we are not having proper access to our First Amendment rights when we assemble to hold those that we have elected and those that represent us accountable. And fourthly, we are going to create an emergency fund to invest in our communities that not only have been impacted by the devastation of the uprising, but our communities that have been disinvested in for so long. I shed a tear the other day when Lake Street and North Minneapolis were set ablaze. I did not cry because there was a property that was being destroyed. I cried because that was a symbol of dreams and opportunities that were being faded right before our eyes. An investment that we have fought so long to get in our communities. And many of you know how hard we fight to have just a little investment, just a tiny bit in our communities. And so I cried for all of that hard work that was now being set ablaze. But what I do know is that every single day when we pour out to the streets, it gets us closer to making sure that we are no longer begging for crumbs, but we are getting proper investment in our communities. Equitable share in wealth and assets. Because many of us know that in order for Minneapolis and Minnesota to truly live up to all of its possibilities, they must invest in the communities that have been left behind. And so I am here today just to hold the space with you all.
What can we do? What can we do?
And I appreciate you all for giving me the time to speak. I really did not want to.
Thank you.
George Floyd! George Floyd! Say his name! 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 George Floyd! No justice? No peace! No justice? No peace! No justice? No peace! That's the main point of all of this. We can't continue to ask for our communities to remain peaceful if we are not giving them a proper path to justice. And equal treatment under law. We are not asking for anything extra. Equal treatment under the law. So thank you all for being here. What we need to do is to continue to mobilize and organize ourselves. The people who have put in place policies that have a chokehold on the possibility of us having prosperity in this country were strategic and methodical in their process of getting that done. And now in order for us to reimagine it and to build something anew, something we could all live under and be proud of, we have to have clarity. We have to be strategic and we have to be methodical in organizing and mobilizing for what could be possible for all of us. So I want all of you not to lose sight. They might want to talk about the riots. They might want to talk about buildings burning. But we are going to talk about George Floyd. We are going to talk about police brutality. We are going to talk about the militarization that is happening with our police department. We are going to talk about the social and economic neglect that we have all faced for decades. And we are all going to talk about a future that is better than the one that we face right now. And so to my Black community and to everyone else, stay focused. Don't let them deter you of what our mission is and what our vision should be. That is what we are going to mobilize for, and that is what we are going to organize for. Thank you.